see what you've done. I don't know who you are. I don't know where you are. But you may want to start changing your ways. Or changing your name.
Yeah, drinking dope.
Knicks Daily Edition is right. Welcome back, everybody. A Knicks evolution is on the horizon, not a rebuild. The New York Knicks are no longer an afterthought. We're looking at 2-0, possibly beating the Boston Celtics going on to a championship. So we're no longer the butt of the jokes of the NBA. We're no longer the third act of NBA blooper reels like Shaq and the Fool. We're no longer accused of being the emotional support team for suffering fans. Thanks to the leadership of Tom Thibodeau. Thanks to the leadership of Leon Rose. Thanks to a core that's centered around Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby, McCall Bridges, Mitchell Robinson, Josh Hart, Karl Anthony Towns, whoever you want to name, the Knicks have now become a rugged, defensively intense, playoff-tested team. But basketball is evolving. We know this. And while Tom Thibodeau has dragged the franchise from the grave with an iron grip and a blue-collar ethos, there may come a time, possibly soon, when the New York Knicks will need to adapt to the modern game without sacrificing the identity that Tom Thibodeau has helped reforge. Not even forge, reforge. And when that time comes, there's only one answer that keeps the ship steady while steering it towards the future that I can think of, and that's Jay Wright. That's Jay Wright, Villanova Wildcats coach Jay Wright. So what I want to talk about is not necessarily the firing of Tibs, but the perfect successor to Tom Thibodeau. How Tibs could transition into a front office role to continue shaping the organization's DNA, and how Jay Wright's arrival coming in would allow the Knicks to seamlessly modernize their style of play while keeping the franchise's gritty culture intact. For all you Knicks fans who are constantly trying to get rid of Tom Thibodeau, y'all not getting rid of Tom Thibodeau in New York. Tom Thibodeau has earned a front office seat, especially if he wins a chip. So let's be clear. Tom Thibodeau should not be fired. He should be promoted. The man who brought defensive structure, player development, and playoff success back to Madison Square Garden deserves a role that allows him to influence the franchise at a macro level. He talked about wanting to be like the Miami Heat and instituting a culture that's going to be known as Knick culture. The man brings a legacy of toughness. Tom Thibodeau revived the Knicks by installing a no-nonsense culture, pushing veterans and young players alike to meet his grueling standards. Under Tom Thibodeau's leadership, Julius Randle made All-NBA, Jalen Brunson became a superstar, Josh Hart found his best self, even RJ Barrett developed into a steady contributor before being traded. The team's defensive identity became one of the league's most respected again. Tom Thibodeau. But Tom Thibodeau is not a modern offensive coach. We know that, although the New York Knicks have led in offensive categories. His schemes often rely on isolation-heavy possessions, sometimes with minimal ball movement and big minute loads that can wear players down by April. We know that has been the charge. These issues have reemerged in multiple playoff exits. We know that, but he's never had a team this talented. Sometimes that shows that the Knicks may need a new voice on the bench, but not a new brain in the building. And that's where y'all got it wrong. The New York Knicks are taking the Pat Riley path. Think about Pat Riley. He brought the Heat to glory as a coach. Then he built dynasties from the front office. Tom Thibodeau can do the same thing. Tom Thibodeau's eye for hard-nosed talent, that's in terms of dedication to discipline, passion for player development, could be even more powerful in a president or GM role. I think he could help scout future Tibs guys. Players who bring that toughness, that sacrifice, that grit that he loves. He could help shape the team's strategy without being handcuffed by minute-to-minute decisions. And I'll tell you this much. If Tom Thibodeau If we move Tom Thibodeau upstairs, it opens the door for someone who understands both the players and the moment. And that's why it's only a natural transition to bring in a Jay Wright. Jay Wright from Villanova is a perfect successor to Tom Thibodeau. Jay Wright isn't just a championship-winning college coach. He's also a culture architect, a master communicator, and one of the most respected basketball minds in the world. After 2 NCAA titles at Villanova and years of NBA caliber development, he's ready for the big stage. The NBA has flirted with him for years now. And I know him, he's a favorite of mine because he coached at my alma mater, Hofstra University. Shout out to the Pride. Jay Wright's coaching resume is unmatched amongst what the available candidates would be, especially in New York. Jay Wright's Villanova teams were a blueprint of modern basketball. We're talking pace, we're talking space, we're talking versatility, we're talking selflessness and toughness. Here's what made them elite though: switchability, positionless defense, high IQ, heavy ball movement, three-point shooting as a foundational weapon, player-led accountability and leadership. Look at Brunson, look at Hart. Does that sound familiar? It should. That's the exact blueprint of a successful NBA playoffs team today. Like the Celtics, like the Nuggets, like the Heat. Jay Wright built that style at the college level before it was mainstream in the NBA. He was ahead of his time. I think the second piece that I'm thinking about is he also develops pro-level talent quietly and consistently. Unlike all of the other flashy recruiters in college basketball, Jay Wright built Villanova with character-first players who improved every year. If we look at our captive, we look at Jalen Brunson, 2-time NCAA world champion, Wooden Award winner, now New York Knicks superstar, Mikal Bridges, defensive ace and offensive Swiss Army knife. Look at Dante DiVincenzo, who was instant energy, championship role player, Sadiq Bey, Josh Hart, Kyle Lowry from earlier in Wright's tenure. All of these are professionals who were molded under Jay Wright's standard. These guys didn't just make it to the NBA, they flourished. So why, you ask? Because Jay Wright emphasized decision-making, toughness, and spacing incorporated into their games. His players came in polished, mature, and adaptable. That sounds like a lot of the current Knicks players on our roster. If Tibs helped develop them physically, Jay Wright can elevate them intellectually and creatively. I think that is the natural progression. Also, Jay Wright commands respect and trust instantly. Jay Wright will walk into the room and immediately earn credibility. He's coached future NBA stars and Olympic athletes already. His communication style is clear, but it's also empowering. And let's not overlook the fact that he's already coached Jalen Brunson. He's already coached Dante DiVincenzo, Bridges, Hart. He's universally respected by players and front offices, executives alike. The man would inherit a locker room full of guys who already trust him. This isn't and wouldn't be a rebuild. It would absolutely be a handoff. And I think it would be seamless in terms of the philosophical and tactical transition for New York, especially if you do it proactively. Let's talk X's and O's though. The Knicks aren't just handing Jay Wright a team, they would be handing him a potential repeat champion. So how does he mold that or build upon it without losing what Tibs built? Keep the defensive identity, the grit and the flexibility. Tom Thibodeau's defense obviously is maniacal and rigid. It's helped us become a top 10 unit. But it can falter against teams that space the floor or exploit mismatches through motion. We've seen that happen. Jay Wright's defense is a little bit more adaptive. He's coached teams to switch effectively without losing intensity. But I know you have to have young legs and young bodies. His schemes force turnovers while defending without fouling. He emphasizes help defense based on anticipation, not reaction. But when you have wings like OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, Jay Wright could install a system where every player guards multiple positions and the floor shrinks on every drive. And I think that'll make it hell for opposing stars. So I think there's a lot of infusion of creativity that will come with him. But even his offensive styles would be game-changing. Jay Wright shines. His Villanova team shines. They won the top 10 nationally in assist-to-turnover ratio for many years. He took a high percentage of efficient threes and shots at the rim. They played 5-out spacing to stretch defenses thin. Oh, damn, those are bars. But he also empowered players to make quick, decisive reads. Under Tom Thibodeau, the Knicks often rely on brute force. That's because we have a talented isolation player in Brunson and Towns. And offensive rebounds. It works in the regular season, but sometimes it could bog down in the playoffs. We'll see how it turns out this playoff run. But Jay Wright would, man. He would use Brunson off of the ball more. I think he would create catch and shoot opportunities. I think he would let Towns play at the top of the key like a stretch facilitator. I also think he would run off-ball actions for Bridges and Hart to be able to drive downhill. But I know for a fact he would emphasize ball movement instead of over-dribbling. But I'm wondering what that would look like. How well would they adjust already as professionals? You don't lose identity. I think what you do if you hire Jay Wright is you gain options. And I think he would do a better job of trusting his depth. Tom Thibodeau leans hard on his starters, sometimes too hard. And I think that leads to fatigue and injuries. Wright, however, has always trusted his depth in college, even in big games. I think that could extend careers and keep the team fresher for the playoffs. Although we are seeing that theory proven wrong in this playoffs. All of us are healthy. But the intangibles that Jay Wright, as the face of a new era, would bring would be crazy. Beyond tactics and systems, Jay Wright brings something few coaches can. He brings class, he brings charisma, and he brings composure. And you need that in the New York market. Media-savvy New York toughness is what you need. Jay Wright is built for the media furnace that's in New York City. He's articulate, he's unflappable, and he has never once embarrassed the program or dodged accountability. I think he can face the tough questions with a smile and a plan, similar to Pat Riley. That's why we loved Pat Riley. He moved like mafia. I think the culture would have continuity with a twist. This isn't firing Tibs to blow it up. It's promoting him to the front office to preserve what's working and then handing the controls to someone who shares the same values, but also adds modern tools. Jay Wright respects defense. He values toughness. He believes in leadership, but he also trusts ball movement and pace and empowerment. It's evolution, but without betrayal. Seems like Knicks fans are always calling for some type of betrayal or to get rid of somebody. But what I love about it, it'll be another a Villanova reunion. Let's not ignore that elephant in the room. The Knicks already have Villanova. Jalen Brunson is the franchise cornerstone. Josh Hart is the spiritual glue. Mikal Bridges might be the missing link to a finals run that we're on right now. So if you bring in Wright, it's not just poetic, it's practical. We've already bought into the Villanova vibes. They already have brought into the system. So Jay Wright, it'll be easy sell. And then the rest of the team, Towns, Anunoby, Robinson, Payne, Shaman, they would benefit from the same clarity and consistency. So if we make this run a championship run, obviously we're going to run it back with Tibs. But if not, why now? Why not now be the perfect time? I think you would help Tom Thibodeau secure his legacy. The Knicks reach the Eastern Conference Finals, make a finals appearance, but fall short. Tom Thibodeau, I think, would walk into the front office with the respect of the fans, the players, and the league. No one can say he didn't finish the job. He just didn't. He just passed the baton before burning out the engine. That's the only thing he would do if he decides it's so. And Jay Wright is available. Jay Wright has made it clear he's not chasing jobs, but the right one could pull him back in. What better fit than the team that has already, scanned his fingerprints all over it? If the Knicks wait too long, another team is going to make that call. I don't want to give the Lakers, the Nets, or the Bucks an opportunity to get Jay Wright. I don't think the window is closing. But with this core, the Knicks have a 3 to 4 year window right before we hit our peak in terms of competing for a title. If we win this year, it's on. And I think bringing in Jay Wright now would give them the time to make subtle tweaks rather than starting cold in like 2026. It also would signal to stars around the league that the New York Knicks are not just chasing banners. We're building sustainability. So I only did this video for y'all people who continue to give me headaches about firing Tom Thibodeau. I want to let you know the New York Knicks are already ahead of you in that conversation. Tom Thibodeau saved the Knicks from basketball purgatory. He brought back intensity, identity, integrity. For that, he deserves a lifetime seat at the table. It doesn't necessarily have to be the bench, though. I think Jay Wright represents the natural next step for us. He brings the same core values, but he also brings a fresh approach. He modernizes the playbook without compromising our culture. And he also has the trust of the players who will carry this team into its next great chapter. This isn't a betrayal of Tom Thibodeau. New York Knicks fans, stop trying to make it so. It would be an evolution of his vision, though. Keep him on board. Keep his voice prominent in the organization. And with Jay Wright calling the plays, the Knicks won't just play modern basketball. We'll define it. What do you think? Keep this in mind. Same thing applies to life that applies to our team. If there is no struggle, there's no progress. But remember this, whether it's out there in the real world or here in these YouTube streets, here in Knicks Deli everybody eats. I'm your boy Sheer, and I'm out. Peace.